Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number something or another of the Nobody Asked for This podcast. It is our usual Wednesday night episode that you'll be hearing on Thursday morning, if in fact there is a you. I have a couple life updates to share. Nothing significant. I made it sound like I was about to announce something. No, I'm still here via beanbag chair, as I have been. This is probably the most consistently recorded from the beanbag chair I have ever been. And that is a real sentence. That is a sentence I just said. But yeah, I hope everyone has had such a nice week. I'm sitting here with what has become routine, my decaf coffee. Here's the thing, right? Like, I know this about myself. You have to know yourself. I know how easily manipulated I am, especially by marketing or like any sort of brand. It's like trying to trick us. Like, I've probably been tricked. I don't think too hard about things. I like to really just take it as it comes. Like, if you're telling me this is decaf coffee, sure. This is decaf coffee. As I've gotten older, I've gotten more cynical, though. Not necessarily smarter, just more cynical. And I just almost refuse to believe that there's anything different between a decaf coffee Keurig pod and a regular coffee Keurig pod. Now, because I'm very susceptible, I also think I am the perfect candidate for a placebo, which I think should be the name of either this episode or this entire show. Perfect candidate for a placebo. I'm writing that down because how many times have I said, that should be the title of this episode, and then it doesn't happen because I didn't write it down. So I've written it down. Now, the only thing that would deter me from making that the name of this episode is I actually feel like I have an episode title similar to that. So I'll have to check the archives, the long archive of the Nobody Asked This podcast. But that's where we're at on that. But regardless, because I am such a good candidate for a placebo, I think I fall for it. Like, I think there is caffeine. Two things can be true. Yes, there is caffeine in this coffee that I'm drinking. And yes, I will not feel it because I've given in to the placebo. Your mind is a powerful thing. Not just yours, but mine as well. The human brain does wild things, clearly. But yeah, speaking of coffee, we are just coming off of our favorite activity here at the Nobody Asked for This podcast, which is the end of daylight savings time, which is really the start of what we really hate in the real enemy. Don't forget who the real enemy is. Daylight losings time. Now, speaking of titles that I have used multiple times, I for sure have multiple titles of episodes called Daylight Losings Time, so I won't fall into that trap again. But I actually have like an interesting take for the daylight savings time this semester, or whatever you call it, and not this year because it happens twice a year, or like it starts and then ends. But I feel like for the most part, actually no, this seems pretty in line. I've thought about things differently. This version of daylight savings time, they brand it at, again, marketing. They brand it at, does daylight savings have PR people? I don't know. They brand it as, you're getting an extra hour of sleep. It's like, oh my gosh, this amazing thing is happening. You're getting more sleep. We're going to give you an extra hour of sleep. Now, I've talked about the fact that I didn't fully understand that it wasn't an extra hour of sleep every night. It was just the one night, which PS is on a Sunday, like it's a weekend, which I've worked weekends before. So like, I'm sure I know that there's times when I've benefited from that extra hour. I know that there's definitely a couple times that I was writing essays and I benefited from that extra hour where I looked at the clock and it was 1:30, and then I looked at the clock an hour later and it was 1:30. and I had maybe written like a couple paragraphs, and I'm like, hey, this whole writing thing isn't so bad. But all of that to say, if the 1 hour sleep extra that I get means that the sun starts setting at 2 o'clock, you know what? Keep your extra hour. Keep it. I don't want it. I didn't ask for this. Nobody asked for this. Daylight savings. I don't want it. I will be tired. I will be tired for an hour extra of tiredness on that Sunday if that means that the sun will stay open. We'll do business hours until like, I don't know, 3 p.m. even? Like, can we bargain? Can you stay out till 3:30? Like, geez, son, like, we don't just, like, yeah, we all want to leave work early. That doesn't mean you get to do it. Like, you can't just be like, oh, I've been here for 4 hours, like, I'm out. Like, no, that's not how it works. It's 2 p.m. Get back out there. I feel like a coach. I was truly, that first day, that Sunday, I was actually having a great day. I went for a walk. I think I maybe went to the bookstore. I was contemplating going to a movie, but like the times didn't work out. And I was like, you know what? Let's just go outside and get some fresh air. And I was walking, not looking at the clock. And I'm pretty sure in the last episode I said like I wasn't going to talk about daylight savings because I had evolved. I didn't evolve, but I feel like I actually have like some thoughts this time. I've really formulated ideas. But I was out for a walk, not really paying attention because again, it was a weekend. So it was like kind of like lawless times. And I was like, oh, there's like, it started looking like really pretty with like the leaves. And we're really at like this, I feel like this week and next week are like peak weeks for weather where like you can be outside and you don't need like a thick, at least where I am, you don't need like a thick jacket, but it's like still a little bit crispy, but like there is like some warmth. Like it's perfect. It's perfect. I'm not trying to complain about everything. Not everything is terrible. Just the sun is a problem. I liked everything that was happening. I just wish it was happening 3 hours later. Is essentially what I'm getting at, because again, I was outside minding my P's and Q's, and I see the sun is setting, and it again looked very pretty. I went to go take a picture even. But the thing is, like most people, I take pictures with my phone. And when I took out my phone, I saw that it was, as I was saying earlier, literally 2 p.m. in the afternoon. And like barely, not like 3:02 p.m. and I'm just like rounding up. Like it was 2:02. That's not okay. It's just not. Like, I didn't sign up for this. And then for people to say, like, they did me a favor by giving me an extra hour of sleep, keep it. Keep it. I will take an extra hour of sleep on a Saturday night going into Sunday. I'll just go to bed earlier. Which, speaking of, that next day, on the Monday, which is like International Day for Going to Bed Early Day, which, oh, that's funny because they just gave us an extra hour of sleep. So you think we would all be so well rested. But no, I did I lived my day normally. I didn't feel tired because I guess, oh, gee, thanks. Whoever's idea this was, like, for the extra hour of sleep. My hero, our hero. So well rested in the dark at 3 p.m. But I was living my life, again, not really looking at the clock. I like fully brush my teeth. Like I've decided like, okay, we're going to bed. Like I'm tired. In my pajamas, in my bed, like put my like dental retainer in. And I look down at the clock and I kid you not, no word of a lie. It is 6:59 p.m. And I was like ready for lights out. Like to the point where I had to force myself to be awake till at least 8 because like I couldn't go to bed. I can't go to bed at 6:59. That's just not, it's just so not becoming. I'm almost always in bed by 9, even though I'm saying those words at 9:05 and I'm not in bed. I mean, I'm in a beanbag chair. That's like close enough, Regardless, I was flabbergasted. I was flabbergasted with myself. I was flabbergasted with the whole daylight savings nonsense. And as I always say, if there is a legitimate reason for daylight savings. I am so open to hearing it. I believe it had something to do with the farmers. We need farmers if we want to eat. I will put up with it. I just don't know the pros. I only experienced the cons, And that's because I haven't, I mean, I'm sure I've Googled it at some point, but I haven't educated myself on the pros of daylight savings. And if there is that, I'll drop it. So one of these days I'm going to Google, but until then I will keep complaining about daylight losing time and going to bed at literal 7:30 p.m. At 7:30 p.m. in the afternoon. When does it officially switch over to afternoon? Or sorry, from afternoon to evening. Is it 6 p.m.? Let's Google that. When does it become evening? I feel like 6. 6 sounds right. Okay, there's no exact scientific definition of evening. This is from wikihow.com. But it's roughly 6 to 9 p.m. Or from sunset until the sky gets fully dark. So these days it's from 2 to about 4 p.m. when the sun gets fully dark. Okay. Good to know. Glad to know we're all on the same page. What else happened this week? Oh, I am continuing my year of appliances. I don't know if I've branded this my year of appliances until today, but it's my year of appliances. It started off coming in hot with buying a microwave, which unfortunately was too big for the slot that I had purchased it for. So it's just on the floor. Just being honest, I have a microwave on the floor. It's okay. When I was younger, my bed frame didn't fit in my bed, or it broke. There's something up with my the frame, the wood part of my bed. So I just put my mattress on the floor, thinking it was temporary, and then continued to have a mattress on the floor for all of high school and then a little bit into college. So I would that the microwave's going to be on the floor for a while, but first thing I bought was the microwave, and then I tried my hand at a Keurig, what's that called? Coffee machine thing, where I make fake decaf coffees. And now I was looking at the hole where the microwave was supposed to be, and I said, I think we should fill it. I think we should fill the void. And I got an air fryer. I did. I was going to wait for holiday sales or a Black Friday situation. And then I remembered that doesn't really exist anymore. There used to be true deals. People were, and I don't remember this, I don't remember doing this specifically, but I remember the tail end of it and hearing horror stories of people getting into fights, people tackling, flat screen TVs were $10. It was nuts in the old times of Black Friday. Now you're lucky if you can get an Amazon Fire Stick at 20% off. And don't even get me started on Prime Days. They have that big sign big deals. Prime. It's yeah, well, big deal is right. There's no big deal. Get it? I might have said that joke on this podcast already, but I thought that was funny. I'll just admit it, I am one of those people where if I say something that I think is funny, I will be repeating it to every single person that I encounter that day in the glaring hope that, is glaring hope a term? I don't know. With a searing passion and hope that it is not heard by the same person twice, but then sometimes I lose track of who I've told the joke to, and I'm oh, this person will love it. This joke is going to crush. And then I tell them, and they're yeah, no, you said that already. And I'm well, shoot. Well, shoot is right. We've officially, I've used the air fryer. I love the air fryer. I'm a big proponent for air frying now, even though I've only done it once. And it fits perfectly in the slot. I unfortunately am not able to use it in the slot for the microwave, so I do have to like take it out of the slot and like put it on the counter. So it's a whole thing. But the slot is full. Happy to report. What I'm not happy to report is, even though I was just talking about how, the weather's still warm-ish, it is cold enough that I now, like, my hands are turning. Each year, my hands around November decide that they want to look like the hands of someone who's 50 years older than me. Now, this is by no means supposed to be saying things negative about the hands of people 50 years older than me. I think it's beautiful. I think your hands tell a story. I think that sounds very cheesy, but honestly, there's truth to it. Like, they're proof that you've lived a life. Aging is good. Like, what do you want? The opposite? Like, we're supposed to age. It's a blessing to age. I hope I age. I hope the hands that I have as a 24-year-old with eczema become the hands I have at 60 or 70 due to living. My point being, like, I don't want these wrinkly hands just yet, but I will accept them as they come naturally. Now, they make their appearance for whatever reason. I think I know the reason. Every winter. Some winters are worse than others. I'm going to do a little bit of Puxatawny Phil and say that, judging off the shadow of them now, and it's barely cold, like, we're in for a rough one. Like, winter it's coming hard and fast for whatever reason. But yeah, basically, because this is an audio medium, I will describe it. My hands get like extremely dry, and like the knuckles get like almost swollen. And then there was not one time, it was a while. There was like one season, I want to say in 2022, or 2022, and then like briefly in the end of 2022, where my hands decided that like they were just going to start swelling for no reason. I have some pictures, it was wild, but I don't know if that's connected to what I'm describing now, which is they just get really flaky and dry, and I try and fix it and put cream on, and by that I mean like someone will literally throw hand cream at me and be like, you need to do something about that. And then I put it on once for 5 minutes, don't like the feeling of it, wash it off, and then I say, well, I tried and it didn't work. I'm kind of the king of that, of being like, half trying something for like 30 seconds and being like, it didn't work. Like, I was the kid who, anytime I took a Tylenol, which wasn't much, like I kind of forget Tylenol existed. I think I talked about that a couple weeks ago. Like, I'll just like have a headache and I don't go to over-the-counter drugs. It's over-the-counter. The term over-the-counter, like, over which side of the counter? Like, over-the-counter to me could be interpreted as like over, like on our side of the counter or on the pharmacist's side of the counter. I think over-the-counter means you don't need a prescription. But that's confusing because that sounds like it could also mean like, it's like, oh, you have to get that from like over the counter. Anyway, I don't take Tylenol, but when I did, I will take Tylenol, I just don't think about it, because when I do, I'm just sitting there being like, is it working yet? Are we there yet? Did it work? Which, as I discussed earlier, I'm very susceptible to placebos, or so I think, so you think I'd be like a prime candidate for Tylenol. Really, I should just start taking sugar pills, or sugar bear hair, but remember when everyone was talking about sugar bear hair? For anyone who doesn't know, that is it's like a skincare, or I guess hair. It must have been like a hair growth pill that for some reason was really trendy, like 2017 to maybe like 2019. Like they were everywhere for like 2 years, and then I haven't heard much from them since, but that could have been maybe I stopped listening. I don't know. But yeah, wishing them well. And I always thought it was a good business model because, yeah, like you took this gummy and like, yeah, maybe it worked. Or maybe you were just eating a delicious snack every day. And, like, can you really, really prove that, like, it didn't make your hair grow? Like, unless your hair, like, stops growing or, like, starts falling out, like, you really can't say, like, this product does not work. And I think that is the perfect business model. I also think a perfect business model is how creative the team over at the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup factory is being. I'm really in awe of all of their work, specifically their new variant of, like, the filled big cup. I want to collect them all. For anyone who doesn't know, obviously Reese's Peanut Butter Cup is a chocolate. Are they like worldwide? Not that I really have to worry about that because this podcast is not worldwide. This podcast is barely, like, municipal. It's barely, like, not even international. It's not national. It's barely mayoral. It's barely city. But regardless, I feel like I don't have to explain what a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup is, but it's like a little piece of chocolate. Not little, because now they have the big cups. But it's like probably like, what would you say, like, any input, like a third of an inch thick? Like, round little cup filled with peanut butter. And they have Reese's Thin, so it's like a thinner one, or they have regular, or they have, like, king size, or they have big, or jumbo. And now I saw they have a half a pound Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. And that, I just think, is probably perfect. Now, the problem with all of the different variants is that they all have different ratios. So it's not just, like, the same thing. Oh, and they also have minis, which are, like, really small. And the best is when you get the bag of minis that are, like, unwrapped, ready to go. So you can just, like, throw bags of Reese's Peanut Butter Cups in your pie hole. They also are similar to the Trader Joe's ones, which Trader Joe's totally copied Reese's and probably would admit it. Trader Joe's like a copycat and doesn't care, and I respect that. He's like, yeah, no, I copied you. What are you going to do about it? Joe must, like, have good lawyers, and he can go in and see, like, what's patented and what's not. And Joe's peanut butter cups, specifically the dark peanut butter cups, are really good. But you can get them in, it's probably like a pound plastic container, but they're all wrapped. Like, the sides are wrapped. As are most of the Reese's peanut butter cups, except for the minis, which are in some bags unwrapped. So it's just easier to maneuver. Anyway, what I wanted to specifically talk about is the big cups. So it's a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup that's like 2 or 3 times bigger the size of the average cup. I feel like I'm making this sound more complicated than it is. It's chocolate and peanut butter. But they have different fillings in them now. So they have, like, one with potato chips. That's delicious. They have one, I think, filled with pretzels. It's like they're trying to be M&Ms. And again, everyone's just copying each other, but it's delicious. And then they have one with just regular, not filled. They have a caramel one with a layer of caramel. They have a fudge one, which for some reason they've called, like, lava chocolate. It's like, okay, so fudge. But sure, we'll say lava. They have one that has the Reese's Puff cereal in it. Gotta try that. They have one that has something else that sounded good. I kind of want butternut squash soup. Anyway, they had one that has Reese's Pieces, which I don't love Reese's Pieces. I'll eat Reese's Pieces. I will never turn down a Reese's Pieces. I love peanut butter. But, like, and by peanut butter, I mean this is like 2% peanut butter, 98% powdered sugar, but regardless. I will never turn it down, but I do prefer the cup. I feel like I talked about this last week with the different shapes, because then it's the same format of chocolate, of peanut butter covered chocolate, or chocolate covered peanut butter. Peanut butter covered chocolate, that sounds good too. But it's the same format, but they have different shapes, like for the holidays. So they have, like, ghost, or they have a nutcracker for the holiday season, And then now they do like white chocolate Reese's peanut butter or dark chocolate Reese's peanut butter, and then variations of all of them with each other. Like it's all happening. And do I have to think of everything? Where is like the cup filled with peanut butter and I don't know, jelly? How did we get to lava, potato chip, caramel before we got to peanut butter and jelly? Where is the peanut butter and jelly Reese's? There's no way they didn't try that. I have to Google this. Reese's peanut butter and jelly. I feel like I've Googled this before. Oh, how topical. They're releasing it in 2025. Well, you know what? I will be here. I'm getting mixed reviews on whether or not it ever existed. But, like, I feel like it had to, no? Like, no way I have to think of everything. Okay, so apparently they're having a limited drop in February, and then they'll be widely available in April. Why is there such a lead time? And they've just announced this now, and I'm on sporked.com. Just so we're all up to speed. That's really weird. I think I'm just going to buy my own Reese's and then and just dip it in jam and call it a day, because I mean, what are we waiting for till April? What in the supply chain is happening here? Regardless, I could do I truly believe I could do a full podcast, like, not episode, like, I could do a series just talking about peanut butter cups. I might turn that into this. But you know what I couldn't do? I couldn't listen to a podcast series, because I've been trying to do that recently, and just because happy Halloween. I hope everyone had a nice Halloween. I hope you got lots of candy. I hope you're still eating your candy. I hope you didn't do what everyone that I see online is doing, which is turning their Halloween candy into cookies. I was starting to see those videos on YouTube Reels, like, literally like 9:02 p.m. on Halloween. It's like, what to do with your leftover candy? Is it even considered leftovers yet? Like, leftovers is, like, it's not leftover Halloween candy till it's time to start opening advent calendars. Like, do you know the chocolate calendar where you start like December 1st and it counts down the month? Like, that's when it's time to start calling it leftover Halloween candy. Also, I don't really do leftover candy. Like, there's not really anything quote unquote left over. I obviously don't trick-or-treat anymore. I had to stop doing that 2 years ago, but because people were saying it was quote unquote weird. But if I did, and when I did, like, there was no leftover candy. Like, why are we acting like this is such a problem that needs fixing? Like, there's no leftover candy. But it's certainly not leftover yet. So if you need an excuse to make delicious cookies with, like, your kid's candy, that's amazing. But, like, maybe wait till, like, December 1st, not November 2nd. Like, they're not done with the candy yet. I don't think. I kind of can't wait, though, to get to eat my kids' Halloween candy. Like, that's pretty cool. I hope trick-or-treating is still a thing. I just feel like we're, for some reason, moving further away from trick-or-treating. I don't know. I just feel like people aren't going to trust anyone anymore. I'm going to not go down this path, but I am going to share that my air fryer that I bought, that I talked about, for some reason, the temperature only shows Celsius. So it is actually time for me to learn the Celsius to Fahrenheit translation formula. I've tried to learn it before, and I'm pretty good with, like if you tell me, like, 80 degrees Fahrenheit, like, I know that's, like we're getting pretty hot. But it's not so hot. I think of it in terms of grades. So it's like, if I got 80% on a test, it's good. Like, it's hot. It's not boiling. It's not great. So I think that's like somewhere around like 20, 25 degrees. 90, that's getting a bit hotter. We're not like, we're starting to sweat, but we're not like it's not like terrible. So that's probably like almost 30 degrees, but like not fully there yet. Let's see, what is 90 degrees? Am I making sense? Okay, 90 is 32, so I was a little bit off, but like it was 30. It was just a little bit more than 30. All I'm trying to say is, by the time you hear from me next, I will have no leftover Halloween candy. I will have fallen for placebos, and I will have mastered the conversion between Fahrenheit and Celsius because my air fryer has decided that will be the case. I feel like I should put a Reese's peanut butter cup in the air fryer, and then maybe get an apple and like dip, because it'll be melty. I almost put and I've really only had an air fryer for 3 days, and I've already done, or 2 days even, 48 hours, maybe 52 hours at this point, maybe 55, 54, 53 and a half. But I've already had so many good ideas. I almost put a Uncrustable in there, which if anyone who doesn't know, it's basically like that frozen peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I must really love peanut butter, huh? This is the peanut butter hour. I'm going to actually rename this podcast Peanut Butter Hour. Even though it's not an hour. Peanut butter half hour. And I really talked about peanuts for probably 15 minutes, but that's not important. What was I saying? Oh, the Uncrustables. I almost put that Uncrustable, the frozen peanut butter sandwich that you're supposed to thaw, but I like eating frozen. I almost put that in an air fryer, and then I realized like I didn't want to do that because I like eating it frozen. Because I usually get the peanut butter and honey ones, and I like the frozen honey. If you've never frozen honey, you should try it because it doesn't fully freeze. It gets like almost like a toffee consistency. It's really good. Dare I call it lava? I also saw that you can buy those sandwiches now with like just peanut butter, and what I would hopefully assume would be like double the peanut butter to account for the lack of jam. So maybe just if you wanted to do that. But regardless, I hope you've all had a great week. I hope your Halloween was great. Mine was good. I watched Halloween Town. I had started Halloween Town 1 2 years ago. I had obviously seen it before when I was younger, but I had started it, a rewatch as an adult of the first movie. I think 2 years ago I watched like the first 10 minutes, and then last year I watched minute 10 to minute 20, and then this year, over the course of 2 days, because I've been trying to watch more films, I watched the next like 40 minutes, and then I finished it off on Halloween, and then even watched the next 20 minutes of Halloween Town 2. And very much look forward to finishing that over the course of the next 3 years. So I had a great Halloween. We are like inching towards like full-blown holiday season. I don't want to be quite there yet. I want to do one more week of like a fall, like going for walks, sun setting at 2 p.m., even though you can do all of that when it's full Christmas holiday season. I want to pace myself, but I'm cautiously optimistic. And I welcome you to join me. So thank you all for listening. I hope you again, all have had a great week and have a great week moving forward, a great weekend. If you like what you've heard, you can go to podcastnobodyaskforthis.podbean.com. On there, you can see links to everywhere you can listen, Spotify, Apple, wherever. Samsung Podcast is apparently a thing. I don't know if it's an app. I don't know. Maybe I have to get it. But yeah, if you've listened to this, I really, really appreciate it. I hope you all have a delicious meal in your future. Maybe have like a breakfast burrito or like a thick stack of pancakes. Maybe like a flavored, if you wanted to do like a like a buttermilk pancake, maybe like either like a cinnamon butter or like a pumpkin situation, or like a red velvet pancake. That sounds delicious. Do that. And then obviously, like, if you have to modify, like, do a vegan version, gluten-free, like, whatever, you deserve it. And that's the message I wanted to send. So I hope you all have a great week. Thank you for listening, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.